Hello, Internet. I've returned. It's wonderful, isn't it? I'm back. But I do have some bad news. Operator's back too. Oh, what the heck? You don't know what you're doing. I look all wrong, dude. One moment, please. I'm back, and I look good now. Alrighty, I have returned. Operator, you may be earning your paycheck. I don't know. You're terrible. Yes, Operator is back. I am back. And I've had a fun little break. Didn't do much. Enjoyed the holidays. We've been busy, as you can see. N.S.P has not been doing nothing. Soundscapes are out. All that sort of fun stuff. So, what's the agenda today? I am going to talk about a show, but I'm also going to do some historical talking stuff because those guys are busy, and I also like to horn in on their stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about terrible coworkers in history, and then I'm going to talk about a radio show. So, yeah, that's the sort of agenda for this stream. It's good to be back. I hope everyone's having a nice day. I know I am. I'm back. I don't know how long for or what I'm going to be doing. But while I'm back, I'm going to have some fun and do this. All right. So let's begin. Terrible coworkers in history. So let's talk about our sort of good person for this episode in history, Joseph Dombey. He's a French botanist, and he was hired as part of a Spanish expedition to Chile and Peru to gather information on plants and have drawings and stuff like that, as well as bring back some specimens. So, this expedition was run by Hipólito Ruiz Lopez. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's dead. He's not going to yell at me. And Jose Antonio Pavon. As part of this agreement to do this expedition, Dombey said that he wouldn't publish any of his research until after uh, Pavon, Lopez, and then all the other people running that expedition had published. So, during the expedition, a bunch of records that he was sending back got captured by the British, and some of the copies got lost, that sort of thing. So, when Dombey finally was able to get home, he left a little early. He he decided to stick what he could keep within the records of the Jardin du Roi, which was this French teaching garden slash botany sort of like a garden that taught people, but also grew plants from abroad, and just basically was the hub of botany science in France at the time. We're talking like the early modern area, before Napoleon, uh, during the Sun King era. So, anyways, where was I? Wait, is the microphone working? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. I was getting very worried there. Alrighty. So, uh, records lost. Dombey goes home with some records, but since he didn't want to lose them anymore, he was sick of the project, he stuck them in the Jardin du Roi. Another botanist, now here comes the terrible coworker, Charles Louis Hertier de Brutel, um, uh, wanted to make copies of these records just so, because so many had been lost already because of the British, that make some duplicates, nothing can get lost, and make some better sketches. So the Jardin said, yeah, sure, why not? So Hertier is making all these copies, and then he sends a message to Lopez and Pavon saying, hey, this stuff is great. I'm going to make a book. Please send me all the stuff that you have. He did not react, the Spanish government didn't react well to that notice. So they sent a notice to the French royal court and saying what was going on. And then the French royal court said, yeah, okay, you can have the records back. It's clear that the people here are breaking trust and breaching contracts. However, Charles Louis Luthier de Proutel and his friends were in the French court at the time. And by court, I don't mean law court, I mean all the buddies of the king. They were there when this decision was heard. So they run back to the Jardin, grab all the plants, all the records, and hightail it. So now, and they're hightailing and outrunning the gendarme. I like to envision a couple of guys carrying some plants and papers, running for their life away from the fuzz. But anyways, they took all the samples and whatnot and ran to England. So now the French government's ticked off with this guy. And to get into England, Lurtier had to lie through customs because even in the 1700s, there were customs, and you couldn't bring a whole bunch of plants and a bunch of papers through customs without someone asking a couple of questions. So he lied, saying that he was bringing them in because of the Royal Conservatory, I believe it was called, where the place where they kept all the nice plants in Britain, invited him, but he wasn't invited. He snuck into the house of the lead botanist in England and lived there and destroyed some plants and had to hide out there for about a year to stay in Britain. And then once everything blew over, he came back. And despite taking all these records and causing problems for everybody, he didn't publish anything. He did it all for nothing. Although apparently later on his kid killed him, shot him in the street, and his wife left him. Okay, I don't have much to say on that. I thought it was kind of neat. Anyways, so remember, there are always terrible coworkers throughout history, and don't be a terrible coworker, man. Don't steal people's records, hightail it to another country, and piss off three world government, big powers, governments while doing it. Anyways, I figured I'd do that history thingy. They are busy, so I figured I'd do it. So, moving on to a sort of a this usual stuff I do here. Okay, moving on to that sort of stuff, I'm going to talk about a radio show, The Strange Dr. Weird. So, this is a series of creepy stories told by the eponymous Dr. Weird. The doctor lives near a graveyard in a shack that seems to be fairly well appointed, it must be said. Essentially, the doctor invites the listener to join him as he tells a story about how a person died. Um, each of these stories are not connected to each other, and each follows their own storylines. Um, Many of these stories follow a less than upstanding citizen as they receive their just reward. This usually involves them meeting a gruesome fate. The series is not really gory as this is an older radio show, and there were limits on what you could do, both technically and because of regulatory reasons. So let's go through the pros and cons of the show. I really only have cons for this. Um, the series is a horror show, and as such, may not be for everyone. Also, the show makes very liberal use of like those old timey organ music. While this is was certainly part of the style of the time, it's quite dated to a modern audience. However, I fully admit there are many who like this kind of effect, and if you do, the series may be for you. It's a very short series. There's a limited number of episodes. Um, it didn't run for a very long time, and each of these episodes is rather short. I think they're about 15 minutes each, and part of the runtime was taken up by a ad for the hat company that put this show together. It was made by a hat company. I mean, the ads themselves aren't terrible. It's not that bad. I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, it's not very long. Pros, well, I mean, it's not very long. I suppose that could be a benefit. Yeah. Could it be made today? No. This is a product of its time, and there are already other podcasts and whatnot that fill this niche. So yeah, that's sort of what I had planned for today. I don't do very long streams anyways. Um, yeah. So I would recommend giving this a listen. It's not terrible or anything like that, but it's not the most stellar piece of audio listening that was ever created. Oops, I need to stretch a bit. Perfect, I'm back. Much better. Okay. So yeah, anything you like to say? All right, I forgot he's the strong silent type. But anyways, I have returned. I am back. Anyways, yeah. So that's gonna be it, I guess. Uh, Hope everyone has a good day. Don't steal anyone's records. Didn't think I'd be saying that so many times when I started this thing out. Eh? Eh? I'm annoyed that he doesn't do anything. Then again, when he does stuff, it ruins everything. But anyways, I will end it here. Hope everyone has a nice day, and goodbye.